Rock stars, pop stars, superstars, they all seem to live in a completely different universe from the rest of us. From their lavish trips to their expensive shows and larger-than-life personas, it's easy to forget that most of them indulge in the same sort of comforts that we do, including food. The life of a celebrity, especially a musician on tour, can leave artists feeling homesick and wanting something simple and familiar. Caviar rarely cures homesickness, but a stack of pancakes or a piping hot pizza. That'll do the trick. Interested in finding out what your idol's favorite foods are? Let's go. Rihanna. Riri has been known to order as many as 3 pasta dishes at once, just to make sure she gets a taste of all of them. Prince. The Purple One's affinity for breakfast food, specifically pancakes, was no secret. Prince once treated Eddie Murphy and company to a feast of pancakes in the middle of the day after he and his band beat them in a game of basketball. Harry Styles. Harry Styles has long maintained that there's no food like Mexican food. Tacos, especially, are a surefire winner for Styles. John Lennon. Beatles rhythm guitarist and co-songwriter John Lennon grew up in World War II-era Liverpool, where basic pantry pleasures like cream were hard to come by. For this reason, Lennon always claimed that the food he craved the most was simply Corning flakes and cream. Katy Perry. Enduring pop star Katy Perry has a particularly expensive, but understandable, taste in veggies. Perry says nothing beats a good truffle mushroom, which happens to be the most expensive type of mushroom there is. David Bowie. One of the greatest and most enduring figures of rock and pop music, David Bowie was a simple man when it came to comfort foods. Apparently, there was nothing Bowie loved more than a good shepherd's pie. Taylor Swift. In 2016, when Taylor Swift was asked by Vogue what her favorite food was, her answer was quick and simple: chicken tenders. Kurt Cobain. Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain admitted that he never craved anything as much as Kraft brand macaroni and cheese, a meal that was apparently hard to source in the world of hotel chefs and fancy restaurants. Beyonce. Queen Bey is known to watch what she eats and keeps a healthy diet. On those cherished cheat days, however, Beyonce usually relishes a classic comfort food: pizza. Amy Winehouse. One of the greatest voices in music history, Amy Winehouse was famously obsessed with Caribbean cuisine, to the point where she tried tirelessly to convince her favorite Caribbean chefs to move to England with her. Although she wasn't successful in her quest for a private chef, she did allegedly learn to make her own jerk chicken. Jimmy Page. Legendary Led Zeppelin guitarist Jimmy Page is an avid enjoyer of all sorts of Indian food. Apparently, he even got the band in trouble once for ordering, and then spilling, Indian food all over a sound engineer's studio. Whitney Houston. One of the most powerful, soulful voices to ever grace our ears, Whitney Houston's food cravings were much more relatable than her larger-than-life stature. What the pop diva craved most, on any given day, was apparently brown sugar Pop-Tarts. She also loved a good, fresh sushi roll. Sting. Sting is known for his healthy and careful personal living practices. The rock star stays away from processed foods, and claims to really, truly, enjoy raw vegetables more than anything else. Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix has cemented a name in history as one of the greatest guitarists of all time, but was he also the biggest spaghetti fan in history? Hendrix went on record to say that spaghetti was his favorite food of all, with a nice piece of strawberry shortcake with whipped cream as dessert. Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison, the enigmatic front-man of The Doors, was infamous for his less-than-ideal drinking habits. Conveniently, his favorite type of food was sold in his favorite type of place. He loved comforting, greasy pub food. Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks of Fleetwood Mac fame is a strong proponent of snacks. On tour, apparently Nicks was never very interested in room service, but to this day can't get enough of some good old animal crackers. Selena. The eternal queen of Tejano music, Selena was never ashamed of her adoration for simple, greasy food, in particular, Pizza Hut pizzas. Dave Grohl. Once the drummer for Nirvana and now the longtime front man for the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl is obsessed with an English classic, banger sausages and baked beans. Bob Marley. Bob Marley's Rastafarian, Ital, diet prevented him from eating things like pork and salt, but he still found a way to enjoy food to the fullest. The Reggae King's favorite dish was a stew consisting of beans, coconut milk, herbs, cauliflower, carrots, and potatoes, served over rice and fried plantains. Joan Jett. Joan Jett has reminisced in the past on the year she ate almost exclusively breakfast food. The Runaways bandleader claimed she even started to lose an appetite for meat after subsisting on a strict French toast and pancakes diet. Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury was always wishing for the taste of home. A favorite of Mercury's was a curry, an Indian scrambled egg dish that reminded him of his mother's cooking. Lars Ulrich. Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich apparently scarfs down 20 oat pancakes a day to give himself enough energy to play shows. Elvis Presley, almost as famous as the king himself, was his favorite food, a peanut butter and banana sandwich, with bacon added as an extra treat. Apparently, Presley would even sometimes ask for an entire loaf of sandwich bread stuffed with his favorite fix-ins. Mick Fleetwood. Fleetwood Mac co-founder Mick Fleetwood has developed quite an elegant taste in his later years. The drummer, who is now somewhat of a restaurateur in Hawaii, claims he can't imagine a better meal than lamb shanks with a glass of Merlot. George Harrison. Beatles guitarist George Harrison was once asked by an American radio host what his favorite things in life were. 2 of the 7 things listed in response were, without any explanation, eggs and chips. So, there we have it. Brian May. Virtuosic guitarist Brian May, who shared the stage with Freddie Mercury and Queen, revealed during an interview for a rock star-themed cookbook that his favorite food on the planet was a simple fruit. Grapefruit, to be precise. Marvin Gaye. At a critical point in his long and storied career, Marvin Gaye took 2 years away from fame in a quiet Belgian fishing village, where he fell completely in love with the Belgian-style preparation of Dover sole fish. Patsy Cline. One of the most important figures in American country music, Patsy Cline maintained throughout her star-studded career that there wasn't a meal in the world that could beat a hearty bowl of chicken and spaghetti. Jack White. Former half of the White Stripes and de facto patron saint of guitar nerds the world over, Jack White is somewhat of a guacamole connoisseur. He has a very particular recipe that cooks must adhere to while he tours. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe for more information.